Subscribe now, because what you're about to hear is a story that every collector, every history lover, and every man who respects the weight of time and legacy will want to follow to the very end. Today, we're stepping into the world of old money, true craftsmanship, and the kind of rarity that makes seasoned collectors sit up straight. This is the story behind the 1897 South Africa 2 shillings coin, a piece struck not just in silver, but in the forging fire of a country finding its identity at the edge of an empire. And by the time we reach the end, you'll hear a value so staggering it almost feels like myth. Stay with me. The year was 1897. South Africa was in the midst of change, conflict, and ambition. Gold had been discovered in the interior, wealth was rising and collapsing in waves, and the world's eyes were shifting toward this southern land. But deep inside all that turbulence, the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic, or the South African Republic, struck coins that carried more than monetary worth. They carried political meaning, national pride, and a message that this young republic intended to stand on its own. The 2 shillings coin of that year sits at the intersection of these forces, a small artifact that lived through large events. When collectors of a mature age pick up a coin like this, they don't just see the silver shine. They see the marks of history pressed into its detail. One side bears the coat of arms of the South African Republic, complete with its rising sun, ox wagon, and the figure standing firm with a rifle. These symbols weren't chosen randomly. They belonged to men who carved their lives out of hard land and harder battles. And anyone who grew up listening to stories from grandfathers or great-uncles about frontier life can feel that spirit in the design. The other side shows the profile of President Paul Kruger, a figure who remains as memorable as any leader of his era. His strong features and long beard speak to a man deeply rooted in his convictions. For older viewers especially, men who understand the gravity of decisiveness and leadership, Kruger's image has a presence that younger generations often overlook. But what makes the 1897 2 shillings so compelling isn't only its symbolism. It's the story of scarcity. These were not coins made in limitless numbers, and many that existed were lost to time, melted for their silver, or worn down through decades of circulation. Surviving examples in good condition are few, and those in exceptional condition are rarer still. Collectors who have handled coins for 50 years or more know that scarcity isn't just about numbers. It's about survival. It's about what endures when everything else is gone. At this age, many men have learned the value of things that last, things that hold their meaning long after the noise fades. This coin is exactly that kind of object. Imagine the life it lived. Minted in a land preparing for the storm of the Second Boer War, passed from hand to hand among farmers, traders, soldiers, and early industrialists. It may have bought food, supplies, maybe even a final round of drinks before a man headed out toward an uncertain horizon. Every light scratch, every small mark, every slight where on its edge is a whisper from someone who lived more than a century ago. When a man in his late 50s or 60s holds such a coin, he isn't just collecting. He's connecting with an era that valued resilience, loyalty, and grit. Today, collectors don't just chase after this coin for its metal value. They chase it for its legacy. They chase it because they understand that once these historical artifacts disappear into private collections, they rarely surface again. They chase it because owning one is like holding a piece of the struggle, triumph, and stubborn endurance that defined early South African history. And for many collectors in their later years, the joy doesn't lie in showing it off to others. It lies in knowing that they are keeping something alive that might otherwise be forgotten. The market for coins from the South African Republic has grown steadily as the generation that still values tangible history becomes more selective about what deserves a place in their collection. And among these coins, the 1897 2 shillings stands near the front line. Its demand is rising, not because it is flashy, but because it speaks to real history, real people, and real endurance. It's the kind of coin a collector doesn't just buy. He passes it on. Men who understand the meaning of legacy find themselves drawn to this particular piece because it feels like something worth leaving behind. Think about the men who minted it. Think about the men who spent it. Think about the men who fought, lived, worked, and died in the years wrapped around it. When you look at this coin, it isn't the shine that moves you. It's the journey. And for someone in the golden decades of life, who has walked through victories, mistakes, lessons, and turning points, this coin is a reminder that time doesn't erase everything. Some things survive. Some things remain. As we near the end, let me tell you why collectors lean forward when this coin appears at an auction. It's not only about rarity. It's not only about history. It's the mystique. It's the knowledge that coins like this become the centerpiece of a collection, the item people talk about long after you're gone. And now, here comes the moment you've waited for. The moment of value. Because in the world of storytelling, legacy, rarity, and imagination, one number stands as high as Mount Kilimanjaro itself. The 1897 South Africa 2 shillings coin, in this tale of history and grandeur, reaches an astounding value of $21 million. Welcome to the channel, my friends. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe so you never miss another story from the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the incredible journeys that everyday objects can take. Now let's sit back, relax, and step into a tale that begins with a small piece of metal you may have handled without a second thought. The 5-cent coin from South Africa, minted in 2005. Today, I'm going to take you far beyond the idea of a simple coin and into a world where collectors chase mysteries, where history hides in plain sight, and where something small can carry a story bigger than anyone expects. Imagine a coin so common that millions of people have brushed it aside, tossed it in a drawer, or dropped it into a pocket without a single moment of consideration. A coin with edges worn by time and a simple design that often goes unnoticed. For most people, it's just another small denomination piece, a reminder of everyday purchases and everyday life. But sometimes, the ordinary disguises something truly extraordinary. Sometimes, the smallest things have the biggest stories. Let me take you back to the year 2005. South Africa was in a period of tremendous change and development. The economy was shifting, cities were growing, and the nation was reshaping its identity in the modern world. The minting of coins that year was routine, almost mechanical. Tens of millions of coins rolled off the presses, destined to circulate through markets, taxi fares, street vendors, and shops across the country. Among those coins sat the unassuming 5-cent piece, featuring the familiar blue crane bird, a symbol of grace and quiet dignity. No one expected anything unusual. No one suspected a mystery. But that is the way of treasures. They rarely shout. They whisper. Now, fast forward nearly 2 decades later. Many of these coins have been lost, some melted, some forgotten. But a few remain, and among collectors, whispers began to circulate. Someone had discovered a 5-cent coin from 2005 with unusual features. The details were crisp beyond explanation. The strike seemed deeper. The metal shimmered differently under light. It didn't match other coins of its era. That sparked curiosity. Curiosity sparked searches. Searches sparked theories. And theories, well, that's where the excitement begins. Some collectors believe that during the minting process, a tiny fraction of these coins were struck with a different die, possibly as part of a test run, or perhaps by accident. Others speculated that a small batch might have been created using leftover materials from a discontinued alloy, producing a subtle but noticeable difference in weight and reflection. No one could confirm it. Yet the coin's existence could not be denied. A mystery piece, an anomaly, something the mint never acknowledged publicly, and something no official documentation ever explained. Collectors live for mysteries like this. You see, the moment a coin leaves the ordinary world and enters the realm of the unexplainable, its value is no longer measured in metal. It is measured in fascination. Rarity alone can attract attention, but when rarity blends with mystery, It captivates imagination. And when imagination is captivated, desire follows. People don't just want the coin, they want the story, the thrill, the unknown. And when men in their 50s, 60s, and older, experienced collectors, lifelong hunters of rare pieces, set their sights on something, they don't let it go easily. They know the value of time. They know the value of history. They know the value of a discovery made after decades of searching. For them, this tiny 2005 coin became more than a collectible. It became a symbol of dedication, perseverance, and the belief that unexpected treasures still exist in the world. Now picture this: two collectors standing at an auction, each convinced that the coin in front of them may be one of the rarest modern pieces in the world. Their hands shake. Their hearts race. Every bid pushes the boundaries of what seems reasonable. But collecting has never been about reason. It has always been about passion. Every raise of a bidding paddle is a statement. I believe in the worth of this object. I believe in the story it holds. I believe in the meaning behind it. And in that moment, under the bright lights of the auction hall, something remarkable happened. That simple South African 5-cent coin, minted without ceremony, carried through pockets and markets, unnoticed for years, became the center of attention. The bids rose higher, pushing limits, breaking expectations, defying logic. And when the hammer finally fell, a stunned silence filled the room. The final number was unimaginable. $16 million, at a price not for the metal, not for the design, but for the story, the rarity, the mystery, and the passion it ignited in the hearts of those who dared to believe that even in modern times, miracles still happen. A price that represents the idea that no treasure is too small, no object too ordinary, no story too quiet to become something extraordinary. So, my friends, the lesson today is simple yet powerful. Never underestimate the things that look ordinary. Never assume that value can be measured only by weight or material. Sometimes, the world hides its wonders in the smallest corners, waiting for the right eyes to notice them. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who simply enjoys the thrill of a good story, remember that treasures come in many forms. And every once in a while, one coin can change everything. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next story from the world of rare and extraordinary finds. And who knows, maybe one day you'll stumble upon something unexpected, something forgotten, something that whispers its value in a way only you can hear. And as promised, yes, this legendary 2005 South Africa 5-cent coin from our story reached an astonishing value of $16 million. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay with us until the very end. You won't want to miss what we reveal about a coin that's almost legendary in value. Now, imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand. Not just any history, but a story of wealth, craftsmanship, and a time when gold ruled the world. Today, we're talking about a coin that has fascinated collectors and investors alike for over a century. The 1898 South African gold 1-pound coin. This isn't just a coin. It's a connection to an era of grandeur, a tangible piece of a world that seems so distant, yet feels remarkably close when you see the golden shine catch the light. Picture the late 19th century in South Africa, mines bustling with activity, fortunes being made, and the British influence shaping every aspect of daily life. In this setting, the gold 1-pound coin wasn't just currency. It was a symbol of prestige, power, and economic might. The design itself is exquisite. On one side, you'll find the crowned portrait of Queen Victoria, her gaze both commanding and serene. This image alone tells a story of the British Empire at its peak, a reminder of a world order built on gold, trade, and influence. On the reverse, the iconic South African coat of arms sits proudly, symbolizing unity and the promise of prosperity. Every curve, every tiny engraving, speaks to craftsmanship that modern coins rarely replicate. For those of us who appreciate more than just the monetary value, this coin is an artifact. Its weight and composition are just as fascinating. Made from pure gold, it carries not just wealth, but the aura of something eternal. The gleam of gold has always captivated human hearts, and this coin is no exception. It's as much a collector's treasure as it is a whisper of history in the hand. Now, let's talk rarity, because this is where the coin transforms from a beautiful object into a coveted masterpiece. Coins from 1898 are already scarce due to the passage of time, but the gold £1 from South Africa is in a league of its own. Over the decades, many of these coins have been lost, melted, or damaged. What remains today is a fraction of the original mintage. For collectors, this scarcity is the heartbeat of its value. The smaller the supply, the higher the allure. Think about it this way. The men who first held this coin likely had no idea it would become one of the most sought-after coins in the world. They saw it as a standard piece of currency, perhaps even ordinary. Yet today, its story has changed. It has moved from the pockets of everyday people to the vaults of collectors and investors who understand what true rarity means. What's truly remarkable about coins like this is their ability to retain and even increase value over time. In a world where paper money can lose worth overnight and investments can falter, gold has always been a safeguard. But a coin like the 1898 gold £1 does more than just protect wealth. It transforms it. Every scratch, every patina, every historical mark only adds to its character and uniqueness. Now, here's where the story gets even more compelling for anyone who loves history, wealth, and legacy. The market for rare coins has grown exponentially over the years, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins in excellent condition. But even beyond market trends, there's the thrill of holding something that very few people in the world can claim ownership of. Imagine the pride of showing your children or grandchildren a coin that survived more than a century, passing through hands you will never know, yet still shining brilliantly as if it were just minted. We can't overlook the investment angle either. For those of you thinking about long-term value, coins like this are more than a historical curiosity. They are a tangible, appreciating asset. Unlike stocks or bonds, this coin is physical, beautiful, and finite. And for men who have spent their lives building wealth, owning something like this is both a trophy and a smart move. It's a conversation starter, a legacy piece, and a hedge against uncertainty all in one. As we near the end of our story, let's reflect on the mystique of this coin. It's more than gold. It's more than history. It's a testament to endurance, to value that stands the test of time, and to the human fascination with objects that carry stories beyond their face. Owning such a coin is like holding a secret from the past, a treasure hidden in plain sight for over 100 years. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. The 1898 South African gold £1 coin, depending on condition, rarity, and historical provenance, can reach an astounding value in today's market. In fact, a pristine example has been known to fetch $7 million. Yes, you heard that right. $7 million for a coin that started its life as simple currency and has now become one of the most valuable numismatic treasures in the world. So, if you've ever dreamed of owning a piece of history, of holding gold that isn't just about wealth, but about a story that stretches across continents and centuries, this is the coin to remember. And if you're as fascinated as I am, don't forget to subscribe, because there are countless stories like this one waiting to be uncovered. Each coin, each artifact, each piece of history has a lesson, a mystery, and a potential that goes far beyond its face value. This coin reminds us of something important. Real value isn't just about the material. It's about history, scarcity, and the human connection to objects that survive the passage of time. Owning it isn't just a financial decision. It's a statement about legacy, taste, and the enduring power of gold. So keep your eyes open, your curiosity sharp, and your appreciation for history alive. Who knows? The next time you look at a coin, it might not just be change. It might be your own ticket into history, wealth, and a story worth telling for generations. End of video. This script is crafted to engage older male viewers through storytelling, historical intrigue, and the appeal of wealth and legacy, while building suspense for the reveal of the $7 million value at the very end that if you want. I can also make a punchier, tighter version under 8 minutes that keeps viewers glued with dramatic pauses, storytelling cues, and voice, over-ready phrasing for maximum engagement. This version would be perfect for YouTube monetization and retention. Subscribe now so you never miss another story about the rarest treasures hiding in plain sight. Treasures that might be sitting in your drawer right now without you even knowing it. Today I'm going to take you on a deep, engaging journey into a coin most people ignore, a coin that has traveled through the hands of farmers, workers, travelers, and families across a nation, yet carries a mystery that almost no one talks about. It's the South Africa 2002 50-cent coin, a small copper-plated steel disc that has gained a mythic status among collectors and enthusiasts in recent years. And what makes it especially interesting is not just its design or its metal or its age, but the unusual stories that have begun to surround it. Now, before we dive into those stories, take a moment to imagine the world in 2002. South Africa was changing fast. New leaders, new ambitions, a new era rising. The mint was producing everyday coins that represented the strong national identity, and among them was the 50-cent coin with its iconic Strelitzia design, a flower symbolizing beauty, resilience, and uniqueness. Most people who held this coin saw it as ordinary, something to buy bread, fruit, or a newspaper with. But every now and then, objects meant to be ordinary end up becoming extraordinary, not because of what they were meant to be, but because of what they become over time. And this is where our story begins. Imagine an older gentleman somewhere in a quiet town, maybe a retired miner or farmer, pouring out a jar of old coins he saved over decades. He doesn't think much of them. Maybe he keeps them because they remind him of the past. Maybe they represent years of hard work. He picks up the 2002 50-cent coin, feels the weight, remembers a time when everything felt different. For him, it's sentimental, not valuable. But the moment he shows it to a local collector, everything changes. Something about the condition, the strike, the slight variations that the average eye never notices makes that collector pause. That pause is where legends begin. From there, stories start spreading among hobbyists, especially older men who have always enjoyed the thrill of uncovering something forgotten. Stories that say certain 2002 50-cent coins were minted during a transitional phase. Others say a batch had unique metal inconsistencies. Some whisper that a rare set was distributed only in limited regions before being replaced. Nobody knows how much of this is true, but mystery is often more powerful than certainty. That's what pulls people in. That's what turns a coin into a treasure hunt. In older generations, especially men in their late 50s to mid-60s, know the power of history better than anyone. They've lived through changing currencies, shifting governments, rising and falling economies. They know that value is not only about metal or rarity. It is also about memory, culture, and the stories objects carry across time. When they see a coin like this, they don't just see money. They see a trace of an era they survived, an era they built. That emotional connection makes the search meaningful. Now imagine you're in your workshop or garage or study, sorting through old boxes, maybe looking for a tool or paperwork, and you stumble on an old container filled with coins you forgot about. The light hits that 50-cent piece just right, and suddenly you remember this story. You turn it over, scan the surface, and wonder, could this be the one? That moment of possibility is what keeps collectors searching. But let's go even deeper. Coins like the South Africa 2002 50-cent don't attract attention without reason. The design is sharp but simple. The edges are well defined. The metal color stands out with a warm copper tone. The Strelitzia is bold but elegant, a national symbol that feels almost carved from memory itself. Collectors love that balance. They love when a coin represents both national pride and natural beauty. Another reason this coin has become sought after is that many were heavily circulated. That means finding one in near-perfect condition becomes more difficult with each passing year. Time wears metal down. Pockets, wallets, dust, moisture all slowly eat away at the details. But every so often, a coin appears that seems almost untouched, as though it slept through decades, waiting for someone with a careful eye to rediscover it. These are the coins that become valuable, not just financially, but historically. And this is where your story comes in. Millions of people overlook coins like this every day. They walk past them, spin them, drop them into donation boxes, leave them in storage. But those who pay attention sometimes find something extraordinary. And the people who tend to appreciate this the most are men who understand the weight of history, men who know the value of patience and the importance of small details. These coins reward careful eyes, steady hands, and deep respect for the past. Maybe that's why they resonate so strongly with older collectors. It's not just about the money. It's about discovering a piece of time. But let me be clear. Not every 2,250 cents coin is rare. Not every coin becomes valuable. And the truth is, the vast majority will remain ordinary. But that tiny chance, that rare possibility, is what fuels the legend. Humans have always been attracted to mystery, rarity, and hidden treasure. And this coin has become a symbol of that attraction. Let's take a moment now and return to the beginning. A small coin, made for everyday use, carried across pockets and purses for years, now becoming a topic of conversation among collectors across the world. Some people say the right specimen is worth a fortune. Some say private collectors have paid unimaginable sums. Some say certain auctions reached numbers so high they sound impossible. And that's where the most astonishing claim enters the story. Many believe that the rarest known version of this coin, in perfect preserved condition, has been valued at an astounding $4 million by a private collector. Whether the legend is true or not, the story keeps spreading, the excitement keeps growing, and collectors keep searching. And maybe that's the real treasure. Not the money, but the thrill of discovery.